Borderlands 4 is finally here, and I've been playing early for about the past 2 weeks, and I've developed a one-shot boss killer build, and this build is for the character Vex, and she's the Siren. Most likely, this build can also be developed for the other characters, and they'll also be able to one-shot big bosses. And my definition for a one-shot boss kill is I'm using one weapon, I'm using one bullet only, and it kills the boss. In this video, I'm going to show you 4 boss fights where they're all one-shot, and the first one is going to be Idolator Saul. This is one of the first big bosses you encounter when you're playing the main story campaign, and it will take you about 4 hours to get here. In my previous video that I posted right before this one, I was all excited. I said I could kill him in about 1:20 seconds. I also said it's early in the game, I can probably get better gear and improve that time. I didn't think I was going to improve the time so much that I would just one-shot him. So I went from 1:22 down to 10 seconds for the kill time. This build is so impressive and so powerful, you melt absolutely everything in this game. I've not come up against any enemy, any vault boss, or anything that I don't just absolutely destroy. In past Borderlands, they've patched OP stuff like this, so let's hope this doesn't get patched. Now, this isn't a gimme. I had to go work my ass off to find this build and find the very specific things I needed to make it insane. But that's what Borderlands is all about. For the loadout I'm doing and for this particular boss, this one shot is not easy. You have to do a few actions before you can even take that first shot, and it's all about timing. Skill set plays a big role here, and also knowing what you're doing. And I feel like I know what I'm doing in this boss fight, and I still can only one-shot him about 1 out of every 10 fights. Again, it's about timing, and he's also very wiggly, and you're trying to hit certain spots on him. The other 3 bosses I'm going to show you, you can absolutely one-shot every single time, and it's really good for weapon farming and also selling weapons and making a ton of money. Some bosses are better than others, and I'll show you which ones are the best. I'll show you everything I have in this build later on in the video. First, I want to show you the breakdown of how to one-shot Idolator Saul. When I enter the arena, I drop left and go clockwise around and then stop right here. This allows me to predict where he's going to shoot down this green pole and where he's going to be standing after I pick it up. The pole homes in on you and you can control where it lands, so I want it to land there because typically after I pick it up, he's turned and I'm trying to hit him on the right shoulder area with that cartridge. The reason why I sweep around him and around the back of the arena is because I want the cat trouble to attract to him and distract him. While I'm picking up the cartridge, he is spun around and he is screwing with that cat, and that allows me to get a nice target where I need to. You have to hit him on the right shoulder. It can be on the shoulder blade on the back or the side, but it's important that you break all of his armor off with that one throw. Now, you can hit him anywhere with a cartridge and it will break his immunity, but you need to completely rip his clothes off to be able to one-shot him. You'll know if he's one-shot worthy after throwing the cartridge if you see all the green pustules on his right arm and then a green pustule also on his left hip. Next thing I do is 3 maneuvers that increase the amount of damage that I'm about to deal to him with this one shot. One is I have to turn on the action skill, which turns Trouble into a badass and beefs up my gun damage. Then I do a ground slam that increases my damage even more. And then I immediately activate my rep kit. That's the healing power that you have. That gives me even more damage. Then I have to immediately try to shoot his right arm area. In these 2 examples I'm showing you, one hit his right hand and it just zapped him. It killed him so fast. And then the other one stuck to his right nipple and worked really good. So what I've shot him with is an underbarrel taser, and he's got 3 big health bars, and this taser went through all of them. This run right here was about an 8-second kill. The weapon that's doing this is a Vladov SMG. It's got an underbarrel alternate fire called taser. Fires a taser that damages a nearby enemy for a certain amount of damage. This damage rating does go up as you level up and get higher leveled guns. I'm at rank 35 and my guns are around 500 to 600 damage per second. The 144 damage rating is going to be a lower level weapon, but it's still super powerful when you're at that level. With the setup I have right now, I can't one-shot everything in the game, but I'm pretty close. But that's okay because there's another option. I can still melt their faces off in seconds and bypass any of their attacks and also their different phases of their boss fights that they go through. And I'll show you how to do that. At the end of Idolator Saul, there's always a red chest. This does respawn every time you redo the boss fight. If you've already fought Idolator once, you're able to come back and redo it again. This is the Moxie's big encore. You just grapple that orb and you're able to go back in and purchase a new boss fight. The cost of the boss fight is going to be based on the rank that you're on. The higher the rank, the more it costs. And I'm at rank 35, so it's costing me $28,000 right now. But that's okay, because you're going to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars every single boss fight by selling the weapons he drops and the ones you get out of the red chest. Okay, so here's my method for melting heavy duty bosses. I have 4 weapons that all have underbarrel tasers, and I'm going to be rotating to every single one of them and emptying all the tasers into this boss. With the loadout I have here, I have 3 to 4 tasers in each weapon for a total of 13 tasers. I'm going to unload all of them. He's going to die in seconds, and that's going to bypass any of him trying to go back into immunity or go through any phases. These tasers do not consume ammo. They're on a cooldown, and I think the cooldown might be around 30 seconds. And yeah, you can just bypass that by switching to a new one and just keep unloading. If you have a quick kill method like I do here, he is a really great boss to farm. When I look at a boss and consider them good for farming, is do they have a bunch of other enemies you have to mess with, and when they spit out guns, do they spit them out so far around the area that it takes forever to run around and pick them up? He doesn't have many other enemies, and he doesn't spit the guns out too far. It's a pretty small area. You do get a box, and then the reset is really close by. And there are 2 machines here, one to sell and one to regenerate your shield and health. So if you pick up all those guns as junk, you can quickly hit a button to just sell them all. And then if you go to the medical vending machine and just interact with it, it will refill your health and shield for free. It doesn't say that it's doing that, but that's the functionality of these vending machines now. I was playing and I was like, what? My shield and health just refilled. What did I do? I was like, no, you just interact with the machine and it does it for free. This next one-shot boss is called the Oppressor, and it's a big airship in the sky, and this is a very satisfying one-shot kill. I do not like farming the Oppressor for just making money off selling weapons, because it craps out guns all over this big arena and it takes forever to pick them up. Also, these 4 bosses are the ones you're going to encounter within the first 4 hours of the game. I'm not showing you where they are on the map because you're going to run into them pretty fast. Also, they've added something very cool to Borderlands 4. We've never seen this before, and you're not going to see it unless you were dealing an incredible amount of damage to these bosses. And in my future videos, I'm going to be referring to my really powerful builds as oof builds, and I'll show you what I mean. For the Oppressor, when you drop into the arena, it's going to circle the arena and drop 1 attack, and then it's going to lower itself where you can get a good shot on it. After I see the ship drop its 1 attack, I just wait a few moments, and then I activate the action skill, the ground slam and rep kit, and then I look up in the sky and I can put 1 taser into the ship. I delivered so much damage to this ship with this method that it went into like a pain animation, and you can see on the health bar it says oof on it. The shield and health bar will distort and shake, and it says oof, and you only get that if you are dealing an incredible amount of damage. So if you can get a boss to oof, you know you're doing good. Once I found out that this is a thing, this became my goal. I want to make these bosses oof and also one-shot them. For Idolator Saul, I can make him oof, but I didn't get him to oof and one-shot in the same fight. And not all bosses do oof, they do something else, and I did find a very large boss that does something else, and I was surprised that I was able to get him to do that because he's so tough, and that will be in the next video. Now I'll show you my favorite boss to farm so far out of all 4 of these. His name is Horus. I like him because he is quick and easy. You can one-shot him, you can definitely oof him, and he drops his guns in a nice little pile that you can pick up very quickly, and the reset is fast, and there is a medical vending machine that you can refill your shield and health. When I drop in, I let him fly forward and he'll get into the center of the arena, and then I activate the action skill, ground slam rep kit, and then put 1 taser into him, and he oofed, and he is so dead. And you can see how the weapons he drops piles very nicely, tightly together, very easy to pick up. He did drop one of his legendary dedicated drops, the Pacemaker. This is a rep kit. He also has a red chest that does respawn every time you buy the boss fight to come back in. It's right here on the right. The Moxie orb to restart the boss fight is right there as well. So again, very short trek, very easy and fast to reset. He does have another dedicated drop that is a Game of Thrones themed weapon. I'll probably make a video on that because it's so fun. This next boss is the very first boss that you can start farming and replaying in the game, and I would highly recommend it. You're going to make a ton of money like this early on, and you're gonna pick up some great legendary items. This is Splash Zone, and he's a very easy kill, and you can pick up all his weapons and resell them. There is one vending machine at the restart point, and you can sell the weapons as long as you've picked them up as junk. There is no health vending machine to restock your health and shield, but that's okay. Now this boss seemed to drop a lot of legendary for me, and I know they said that they cut back on the drops, but I got a lot from him for some reason. One of his dedicated legendary drops is a gun called the lead balloon. It's got a pretty cool effect, but I've had a hard time using anything else other than the tasers. They seem to be way more powerful than anything else. Again, this boss is obviously a one-shot, and you can definitely oof him. Now let's go through the build. So the weapon I was one-shotting with was this Vladoff SMG Domino State Bori, and for the alt fire it does 539 damage per second. So for this kind of build, this is what you're looking for. The Vladoffs to say the alt fire of taser. Now they do all kinds of different alt fires. When I'm hunting for a Vladoff with an alt fire of taser, I always check to see how many tasers it has. A lot of them will just have one, and I'm looking for ones that have 3 and 4 shots. My other 3 tasers, I've got a green, blue, and purple rarity, and it goes from 526 damage, 588 to 625. My green and blue rarity both have 3 shots, and the purple rarity has 4, and I noticed that a lot, that if I'm trying to get one with 4 shots, I've got to look for purple. Okay, let's talk about the equipment here that helps this out. So I found a rep kit, standard amplified pocket dock from Tedior. This is a epic purple rarity, and what you're looking for is this ability here, and this is where the magic happens. It's called Amp. On use, grants increased damage of the next shot by 200%. I tried a lot of different rep kits that gave me additional damage, but this is the one that put it over the edge and allowed me to start one-shotting. The next is my class mod. I was just looking for something that would give me more gun damage. I have 32% more submachine gun damage, and all the Vladoffs are submachine guns. This next item did help to make a big difference. It's a legendary shield, Protean Cell. It's from the Order, and the direct current is what's helping here. So you ground slam to toggle this effect, and when it's enabled, it drains your shield over time to grant you plus 40% bonus shock damage. This shield I got from Idolator Saul, the boss I showed you in the beginning, and I do not know if this is a dedicated drop for him. It's very possible. I did get a lot of Gore Master guns from him, so I know that is dedicated. This next one is an enhancement, and it helped out a ton, and I didn't see a lot of these. I think throughout all my farming, I saw like 2 of these. This is specific for the Vladoff build with the Vladoff SMGs, and it says Underdog. Guns with Vladoff licensed parts gain plus 50% under barrel damage. That's huge. And then it's giving another 18% to gun damage. The last equipment is Grenade, and that is not doing anything. So I'm using her Red Tree. This gives you Trouble the Cat, and there are enhancements to shock damage here. So that's what I focused on. This is the action skill that allows you to teleport Trouble in, and Trouble will turn into a badass and do more damage. Then I have Blood is Magic. Vex deals increased action skill damage the higher her health. I have this one on, but I don't use it for the one shot. It's the Blink Strike. You can make Trouble target an enemy. And then Yowlin Bay is why I activate the action skill. Vex gains increased gun damage for a duration after commanding Trouble, which is plus 25% for 8 seconds. And that's plenty of time to one-shot these bosses. Then there's Vorpal Friends. Vex and her minions gain critical hit damage of plus 35%. So if you stay to the right, you're going to get shock enhancements. But if you go in the middle here, you can get Elemental Essence. Vex gains increased elemental damage. And this is why I turn on action skill again. It says double this effect when an action skill is active. And when that's happening, you're getting plus 40%. Next is Infernal Sum. Vex and her minions deal increased critical hit damage to enemies who have less than 66.6% of their health. This next one is Sacrificial Essence, and you're able to stack damage. Then moving on to the shock enhancements. Shocking Attunement. Attunement skill. While Vex is attuned to shock, she gains increased movement speed and gun damage while moving. So if I'm doing the one shot, I make sure I am moving and just walking to get this enhancement. This one here helps out a lot. It's called Deadwire. When Vex deals gun damage, there's a chance to spawn a Spark Remnant that will seek out a nearby enemy and explode, also dealing shock minion damage to other nearby enemies. The damage is 320% and plus 80% of gun damage dealt. So keep an eye out for this equipment, and my next video is going to be about red chest farming. That's super useful. I'll show you where to go. Then the next video is going to be about this build up against the biggest vault boss and how that went. But I hope this helped you guys out, and we'll see you next video.